Hey everybody, and welcome back to Trolls with Tire Irons. I am your favorite Dungeon Master, DM Andy, and today I'm going to build a Gaslands car. Now I know I've been MIA for a little while, but I'm hoping to put a little paint on plastic and inspire you to game with your friends. Now, Gaslands is a post-apocalyptic vehicular combat game made by Mike Hutchinson's and Osprey Games. This game taps into your creative side and lets you convert Matchbox and Hot Wheel cars into raceway road warriors. You take your time and make the cars how you want to make them. I always find that I like to tear the car down, separate the pieces, see what I've got, and then kind of start from there and try to get an idea of where I want the car to go. It's always good to turn to the book because the book's got lots of details of the different kinds of cars you can use, from buggies and bikes to trucks and cars. So what I've done here is I've drilled out the small rivets. Be careful when you're doing that. The car can get twisted, hurt your wrist, cut your hand. Just be extra careful. It might even be nice to use a vise if you've got one. I just don't happen to have a vise that would work on small cars. And now I'm using a pair of model snips to cut away the engine compartment because I'm going to need to reuse that to attach the blower back to the outside of the car. Next, I'm going to warm up my SureBonder brand hot glue gun. I've had this thing for several years. You can get them in lots of places, from Walmart to Amazon.com. I love this thing. It never seems to wear out, and it never seems to get weak on me. Just a short PSA, don't be like Dungeon Master Andy. Remember to turn your hot glue gun off. I cannot tell you the number of times I've woke up the next morning and found that thing still on and running. Alright, now let's get out the old bits box. I'm looking for leftover pieces of like granny grating. I'm going to use it for the windshield. Like, I want it to be like a metal screen that's protecting the driver from things that are coming at the car. So after I get the motor glued back in, I'm going to cut down some of this granny grating and make it fit inside. And then I'm going to hot glue it to that engine compartment so that I've got a nice place to attach it, and I won't have to necessarily fight it to get it to attach to the sides of the roof. But works out pretty well when you do it like this, just plastic on plastic. And next, I cut down a few pieces of plastic wrapped paper clips, and I'm going to glue those over the driver's side and passenger side windows. I just use a little bit of this adhesive super glue because the bead of glue on the paper clip just kind of looks like it's been welded to the car once you got it all painted up. And now back to my SureBonder hot glue gun. I'm going to put quite a bit of hot glue inside the car to squeeze the bottom back together so that I know that it really seals the car up and makes it solid. And now onto the wheels. Once again, I'm just going to use my hot glue gun. I'm going to pump a nice bead of glue in there, and then I'm going to stick the wheel on. Now, I did get rid of the old wheels and get a different set of wheels out of my bits bucket. But it's all in what you want. Build the cars the way you like them. Just have fun with it. So now we need to move on to weapons for our cars. I've got this bag of old 40K bits. They work really, really well, but you can make weapons out of anything, out of old stir straws, pins. Sometimes you can even cut the weapons off of old school army men. There's lots of places to source weapons from. And here's a look at it all fabbed up before we head over to the paint shop. Alright, those of you who've watched my videos know I've never done this before. I finally got an airbrush set up, and I've been wanting to try it, but I didn't know how to do it, so I had to go on YouTube and learn first. So I've got myself all set up, I've practiced a few times, and I'm ready to give it a go for you guys. Now remember, you can still always use the old school traditional spray paint and a mask. I used to do it that way all the time, but I found with the airbrush, you get a little more control, it's a lot more fun to use, and I'll be honest with you, once you get one, you'll never go back. It does take a little bit to get used to the airbrush itself, but you've also got the second problem of getting used to thinning your paints right and getting things set up. If you get it too thin, it won't really coat the miniature very well, and if you have it too thick, you'll clog your gun. So I'm just going to give this a mix. do my best to get it set up the way I like it, and then we're going to go to town base coating this car black. I like to base coat everything black first. Some people like to add shadowing effects. There's all kinds of weird slap and chop techniques you can do. But from 3 feet away on the table, just some acrylic paints and a black base coat, it's wonderful. It works really well. One of the nice things about the airbrush is because you're not using an excessive amount of paint from an aerosol can, it tends to dry a lot faster, which lets you get more of your hobby crafting done in a shorter amount of time. I really do recommend an airbrush kit. If you can ever get one, they are super cool. And the last selling point on an airbrush kit is you don't get all the noxious fumes and the odor that you have to deal with when you're using aerosol cans. Spray paint has always done me really, really well, but I think that's part of my past now, and I've moved on to bigger and better things. As you can see, it took me about 30 seconds to base coat that car, and now I'm going to give you a shot of what it looks like all painted up black and ready to go back to the Beats lab. And I'm going to pull out my favorite Battle Brother blue, and I'm going to add to my blue team. I've got a little carried away with the red team. I've got about 10 cars for the red team, but I've only got 4 for the blue team. So, including the hover car I made for the Mars Alien League Racing, this will be the 5th car for the blue team. And I just slap on some blue paint. Like, I hit the fenders, I hit the doors, I hit the roof. I do take my time because, you know, you want your stuff to look cool, but I'm not obsessed with how great they're going to look. These aren't miniatures that are going up for prizes. These are the ones we play with at home, we play with friends. I just need them to be the same color as the rest of the teams that I use when you have 3 or 4 cars on a team. Now don't worry if this first coat is a little messy. It's always going to come out with thin spots or places you need to touch up. That second coat will really bring it all together, and it'll fix anything that you think wrong with the car after you put the first coat on. Alright, now I'm going to get out some metallic silver. I want to go over the tanks on the back, the wheel wells, the guns, the motor. I'm just going to add some accent spots with my silver paint to all the things that are metal on the car. Now that we've made a little headway, and I'm painting away in the background, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the car. This is going to be a middleweight performance car. It's going to have 8 hull points. It's able to get all the way up to 6th gear. Its handling is 4 and its crew is 1. Now, depending on the weapon loadout you put on it, you're going to have different can prices. Can prices those are rules inside the book, inside the game, that explain how much you can spend on your team depending on how many points you and your opponent want to use to build your teams. That's really just a lot of technical jargon about the rules, and the best way to understand all that is to get yourself a copy of the rule book. I bought mine on Amazon. I've actually had both sets of rules, the old rules and the new ones from Refueled. Now we're going to get on to one of my favorite parts, muddying up these cars. I just like to take some brown paint and hit the car on its wheels, on its undercarriage, on its fenders. I just like to throw mud at the car wherever it looks appropriate. This is really, really a good step to make these cars look beat up and post-apocalyptic for that grim, dark road racing world they live in. Hey, if you've made it this far, why don't you go ahead and subscribe for me? I'd love to have more people. I'm up over 800 subscribers now, and I'd like to have 1 million more. As always, I am your favorite Dungeon Master, DM Andy, saying, if you'll keep watching, I'll keep tearing up kids' toys. Thanks, everybody.